On July 1st, Sony dropped a bombshell. Physical disc production would end in January 2028. This sent a ripple through the games industry. The tweet announcing this decision would see over 168 million views. With only 65k likes, it would receive 101,000 comments. And over the course of these 6 days, it would see numerous, and I mean numerous, community notes. And it would get so bad that PlayStation would avoid social media for 6 whole days. But as of July 7th, they are back. Bruh. And the pushback is seemingly not gone anywhere. So what has happened to PlayStation? Where do we go from here? And how likely is it that PlayStation may reverse course? Well, in today's video, let's go over all of those questions and ask a simple one. PlayStation, was it worth it? Hello everybody. It's your boy Jmulls. And it seems that play does have limits. On July 1st, PlayStation would send out this tweet: important updates, news on physical discs for new games, and news on PlayStation Store on PS3 and PS Vita. The former article would be announcing the physical disc production ending in January 2028. The latter article would be announcing the closing of the PlayStation Store on the PS3 and PS Vita, globally in July of 2027. Needless to say, people weren't particularly pleased about this, but then PlayStation went radio silent until today, where they would try to tweet out about their new fighting game controller, the Flex Strike. And you might be able to see this ratio right here: 56k comments to only 9.1k likes, 16 million views. There's a general rule of thumb when it comes to a lot of online controversies, where if you want something to blow over, just wait 72 hours. Well, it's been way over that, and this controversy's going nowhere from the looks of it. Address me, the elephant in the room thought you gave up on physical products. Honestly, kind of funny. The UK Domino's Twitter account absolutely ratioing the hell out of them. 113k likes, holy. And it just keeps going. Oh my god, it doesn't stop. This picture's crazy. From the Stop Killing Games account, kind of fitting. But that wouldn't be the end of it. Sure, each subsequent tweet wouldn't have as many views so far, and as of now, there are 2 other tweets and it's still not looking particularly good for them. One tweet about PlayStation Plus monthly games for July, 16k comments to 4.7k likes, 1.7 million views, and then a tweet about the blood of Dawn Walker, 9.9k likes to 2.1k. Sure, there's a lot of accounts on here just trying to farm likes and all that. That is kind of the natural state of Twitter. However, the fact that a lot of these accounts are able to farm likes says something all of its own. I think there's 3 realistic scenarios for what's going on here on PlayStation's behalf. I think the reason they waited so long to tweet out again after just announcing the end of physical game production in 2028, they may have been planning to wait out for the Xbox layoffs that we had been expecting for a while to try to take some of the heat off them. Clearly that isn't happening. Or if this is them with the heat off of them, or they're just trying to take a knee and run out the clock, hoping controversy will die down over time and people will just move on to something else. That clearly isn't happening yet. Or possible third option, they just didn't expect this pushback. Honestly, I don't know which one of these is worse. Look, I'll be honest here, I am primarily a PC player. Most of the games that I play nowadays are digital, but I also don't subscribe to the notion that just because it doesn't affect me doesn't mean that this is a positive trend or something that I should just sit back and say that it's fine. To me, this is still a massive step in the wrong direction for the industry on the whole. And to me, this is just another play by PlayStation to try to gather as much control as humanly possible and also further erode the concept of ownership. Now, is physical gaming a perfect remedy to this whole issue we have nowadays when it comes to game preservation and true ownership? No, it's not perfect. In order to get to a perfect world on these issues, that's going to be a long journey of its own. But I do agree with the idea that for consoles, being able to have a physical disc is a step in the right direction. It's not the full solution. We need better just overall consumer protection. But a step in the right direction is still a step in the right direction. And I would argue this is even more than just a single step. May not be the full marathon, but in order to finish a marathon, you have to take a few steps. But will all of this negative sentiment and pushback that Sony is getting right now amount to anything? Let's explore that next. Yeah, consumer boycotts and pushback may not necessarily go anywhere, but I mean, sometimes they do. Who remembers back in the day of Battlefront 2 with the whole loot box scandal that was going on? The pushback got so severe that even governments started to get involved. So it is possible that sometimes people are loud enough to get the right people involved. And sometimes that can be enough to scare these companies back on track. I'm not overly optimistic about that happening here for PlayStation though, and to highlight what I'm talking about, let's head on over to The Verge. storage. Sony's PlayStation disc factory is already being repurposed. The man who leads Sony's disc-making operations, Sony DADC president Dietmar Tanzer, told ORF Salzburg that the company's Thalgo plant produces 600,000 discs every day, half of which are for PlayStation. But since it'll only be making 10% of that volume in 2028, it's planning to retrain all 300 employees to work on optical microlenses instead. Thalgo isn't just one of Sony's disc plants, it's where the disc-making division is headquartered, and appears to be its only remaining wholly owned disc manufacturing facility. Sony made discs in the United States for decades, originally in Terre Haute, Indiana, and later in New Jersey, but it closed the latter plant in 2011 and moved all manufacturing from Indiana to Thalgo in 2022. So that's not ideal, but surely if you swap the factory from making one thing to another, surely you can swap it back, right? Sure, absolutely, but I can't imagine too many people at the high end of Sony's leadership would be too pleased about wasting all that money. But there's unfortunately another thing we have to take into consideration here. This is Sony's stock over the last 5 days. Remember, they announced this whole physical disc thing on July 1st. Here's July 1st. The stock has gone up. And sure, the y-axis makes this look a little bit misleading, but it's still going up. So despite all of this, and this, and this is the unfortunate reality. And sure, PlayStation is only a part of Sony. It's possible that over time, the stock may fall as well. But right now it isn't. And I really don't see PlayStation changing course until it hits them in their wallet. If all of this controversy can translate into less sales figures for PlayStation going forward, that's how I think PlayStation will about face on this. If their wallet is hit hard enough, if when we get to the day of the PlayStation 6 and is just not selling the units that PlayStation wants it to sell, I mean, after all, look at the trending tab here. Hashtag not buying PS6. Physical games are trending as well. Is all of this necessarily reliable? No, I'm sure some of it is botted, but let's also be real with ourselves here. There's clearly a lot of pushback here. Sony wouldn't have gone radio silent for PlayStation for all of those days if this wasn't a big deal, if they didn't think they were going to get pushback on this. Where I'm coming from, it's just that online pushback and ratioing them on Twitter is not going to change business policy. Their wallet getting affected at the other end of this, that's what's going to change it. And I don't think this is a total indicator, but it's not a good sign. I will say personally, I am really glad I moved to PC gaming, because if PlayStation and console gaming is going to move in the direction of just being a glorified digital storefront anyways, then to me, PC is just better for that use case. Sure, Nintendo still exists, and I don't really see them moving away from physical games anytime soon. It's like, yeah, game key cards kind of suck conceptually, but it really doesn't feel like Nintendo are going to move away from just having physical games anytime soon. Xbox could get a very easy win by just including a disk drive with whatever Project Helix ends up being. Now, they may just fumble this bag and follow suit when it comes to what Sony's doing. Xbox snatching defeat from the jaws of victory would be very on-like point with them, but this goes back to a point I've been talking about over and over again for a while. Consoles have just become worse PCs, and they continue to lean in that direction. So if companies like PlayStation are content with their ecosystem just being a worse PC environment, why wouldn't I just stick with PC? And sure, what appeals to me is not going to appeal to everybody. There are people out there that still love that traditional console ecosystem for whatever reason. Even if that reason is you just simply enjoy the vibe of it. That's all fine. We like what we like. There's nothing wrong with that. But we all have to face reality at some point, and if PlayStation wants to just become a worse PC, well, let's just say I'll be very interested to see what the 1-year sales figures are for the PlayStation 6. I don't think it's gonna bomb like the Wii U or anything like that, but with each passing day, I really wouldn't be surprised if it underperforms. Man, the things I'd do to see a return of the cool days of PlayStation, like the days of the early PlayStation 4, when they were just bodying Xbox everywhere. Like, remember when they uploaded this video? When they showed off how to share a used game for PlayStation, and was just this? Taking full advantage of physical games? Man, how far we have fallen, huh? Personally, my favorite era of PlayStation was the PlayStation 2. But if we could just get back to those good old days of PlayStation, instead of whatever, like, mutant aberration PlayStation has become. But either way, here's where you come in. Leave a comment down below with your thoughts and what's going on with PlayStation right now. What do you want to see out of PlayStation going forward? And are you more likely or less likely to buy a PlayStation 6 because of all this physical news? I would love to hear your thoughts, hear your opinions, and to hear your perspectives. While you're down there, please leave a like and subscribe. It really helps the channel out and helps support future content, and I greatly appreciate it. And we just keep getting a whole lot of gaming news, people. The Xbox layoffs have finally hit, and there are a lot of them. But was this really the worst case scenario? Well, it's a little bit more complicated than that. Want to find out more and get up to speed? Check out this video right here for more. Thank you all for tuning in. Stay safe. Have a great day. I'll see you all next time. Bye-bye, everybody. Until we meet again!